Good morning, and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. This week, following Christ the King Sunday this past Sunday, we are looking at some of the hymns in our hymnal that proclaim and praise Christ as our King. We don't really know much about kings in our country, but this hymn is striking in how it points out that Jesus becomes our King not through power, but through his suffering and death. The first stanza reads, "When I survey the wondrous cross on which the Prince of Glory died, my richest gain I count but loss, and pour contempt on all my pride." And oh, how that verse evokes the feelings of humility and unworthiness we have in us. Jesus was the Prince of Glory, and yet he gave it all up and suffered for us. Even our most valuable possessions are nothing but loss compared to the incredible gift Jesus gives. Even more, we have to do away with all our pride, all our sense of accomplishment, because they mean nothing. Christ has done it all. The second stanza picks up with that idea. "Forbid it, Lord, that I should boast, save in the death of Christ my God. All the vain things that charm me most, I sacrifice them to his blood." Once again, the hymn points to our self-focused nature and our self-aggrandizement. Normally we think pretty highly of ourselves, but the hymn reminds us that our only reason to boast is in the death of Jesus, not anything we have done. We are called to move beyond all those enticements to grandeur and comfort in favor of yielding our lives to Christ our King. See, from his head, his hands, his feet, sorrow and love flow mingled down. Did e'er such love and sorrow meet, or thorns compose so rich a crown? In stanza 3, we get the vision of Jesus on the cross. It's an astonishing image that in the crucified Christ, sorrow over our sin commingles with love flowing out of him. The hymn invites us to stand in awe of that moment and the astounding love of God in Christ. We are reminded that our King wears a crown of thorns. Finally, stanza 4 invites our response to the love and sacrifice of our King for us. "Were the whole realm of nature mine, that were a present far too small. Love so amazing, so divine, demands my soul, my life, my all." What Christ did on the cross makes the whole world seem like a trifle. We are called to respond with all we are to this King who loves us so. Many years ago, I wrote a Christ the King sermon called "The Crossmaker." I imagined a story about a carpenter that the Romans had tasked with making crosses for the executions they were planning. And then came the time when he was called on to make the cross for Jesus. Through this process, he learned about Jesus and eventually came to believe. The final line the crossmaker said was, "Jesus is my King, and I made his throne." Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.